Nice. Hello and welcome back to Diggs on Twitch. Back today with Green, White, Black Maverick. It's been a while. I've played a few different decks recently. Gone back to Death and Taxes, played Bant Maverick, played Punishing Maverick, played Green, White Maverick as well, which is really cool. Green, White Maverick with main deck Skyclave Apparitions have been pretty awesome. It's really nice to be able to work off the 4 basics that you have in the deck and not really worry about getting wastelanded off something like a Bayou. Or a Taiga, which is really cool. I did not see the Commander Legends Hate Bear Jack, unfortunately. What was it? I'm sure it was pretty busted for the 2020 design card. This is a pretty stock list. Looking at the deck, we have 4 Noble Hierarch, a Gilded Goose, and a Bird to Paradise. I want to try out the Gilded Goose because it does have some longevity as a mana dork, which is nice. We're not playing Oko, so we can't turn the food into a 3/3, but the 3 life can really add up, especially against something like a Delver or an Elk, which is nice. Hey Lurin, thanks for the points. So I want to try out Goose over the second bird and still have another mana dork to try to bust out some pretty good turn 2 plays, either in a 3-drop or a 2-drop playing around. You know what it's called. Days. I'm not playing Once Upon a Time. I was before, but I think the deck already has some really good consistency, and I wanted to try to fit more in than more filler cards, like Sylvan Library, like Green Suns. Definitely nothing against Once Upon a Time. I'll probably go back to it, but I wanted to see a list without it, and where you could kind of fit in more of the meat of the deck rather than just some kind of fine cards. So I was able to fit in an extra Green Suns target and an extra mana dork, which is really nice. And then just playing 23 lands, which might be a little bit low with the Dried Arbor, but I like the extra mana dork instead of the extra land because it just leads to more explosive starts. To the board we have Deafening Silence and Chalice for the combo decks. Graveyard Hate, I've moved away from Leyline for Surgical and Torments. There's some matchups where I want Surgical where I don't want Leyline. There's a possibility that I want it against the Uro decks, because if you can take out Uro, then you can obviously leave them with not many ways to win outside of Oko, which still can be a pretty busted way to win, but I think taking away Uro is a pretty big hedge against those decks. Choke and Force, just 2 kind of cards that I think are okay right now. Force being one that I like in the mid-range decks, or against mid-range decks. Hitting things like Mox Diamond, Sylvan Library. It's obviously great against the Chalice decks, so that should be pretty fun. Hey Clips, thank you very much. And then Kaya. I know Achilles is a huge fan of Kaya, and I kind of like her as well. So right away she comes down and she creates card advantage, which is nice with a -2. The 0 is actually interesting, so exiling Kaya or up to one target creature, and then returning it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next upkeep. Means I can reset something like a Night of Autumn and get an extra activation, or I can reset a Plague Engineer, which seems pretty busted. Because there are a few decks where you can name, say, human or zombie, and then wanted to come back down and name something else. So that's something that the deck hasn't really had a chance to do. Maverick doesn't play things like Flick Wisp or any sort of bounce effect, so Kai is kind of cool in that regard. And the drain effect of just lose 2, gain 2 is pretty powerful as well. So I do like Kai as a 4-drop walker, so we'll see how she goes. Skyclave Apparition, I think, is a card that's just good enough to be played in any Maverick list. Even though we're not playing the green-white version, I think this is pretty good. Because of the main deck Abrupt Decays alongside the sorts of Plowshares, I'm not too scared of not having Path to Exile on the sideboard. So Skyclave's kind of taking my role of removal spell that combines kind of Path and Council's Judgment and maybe some piece of interaction with artifacts or enchantments into one with a body, which is really nice. Also hits Oko, which is great because outside of Abrupt Decay, we don't have great answers to Oko other than combat damage, so that's a nice place for Skyclave. And Teeg is always an interesting one. Obviously, Teeg kind of came out of favor once Collector Oof was printed, with Oof just having a kind of a wider width of range against some of the decks that you can bring it in against or keep it in against. Decks like Death and Taxes, obviously Collector Oof is great, but Gaddock Teeg does nothing. But I've seen a bunch of Terminus lately and Jace, so I wanted to bring Teeg back in just to have some sort of game against that. We're obviously not running Protection in Mother of Runes, which is a little bit skeptical because then you can't protect the Teeg, but hopefully maybe something like a Chalice can protect the Teeg in that regard. So this should be pretty fun. It's always interesting to play around with lists. Obviously this list isn't running Once Upon a Time or Mother of Runes or anything like even a Green Sun's target of Sylvan Safekeeper, so we'll see how it fares. Hopefully it's okay. I think it's going to be pretty good. I think that Abrupt Decay is in a great spot. I think that Maverick's in an okay spot. It's just tough to grind against some of these blue decks, but that's what Magic's all about. It's also raining here, and I have coffee, so win-win-win. Alright, up against Mark DM. This is a pretty okay hand. Turn 1 Acceleration. We have a turn 2 Green Sun, so something like Collector Oof, which can be backbreaking. Ramanap and Peatland are obviously really nice. And Peatland being a card that I can actually just turn into a spell, hopefully down the line, means this is kind of like a 3-lander. So pretty happy with this. Could even go for a basic off this and just play off basics for the first few turns. Yeah, I think Teeg's in a pretty good spot to have as a creature. It's just nice that you can please don't be Hull Breacher. Turn 1 Mentor. Interesting. Mox Diamond. Okay. Is this going to be like a Bomberman kind of deck that just has main deck Mentor? Because that's going to be a little bit hard to beat. Please don't have Echo as well. Surely not. That would be pretty busted. Okay, they don't, but they just have, 7 power on turn 1. Oh, Swords is really nice. They have 1 card left. I think it's just Swords here. Much better over anything else. Yeah, maybe it is common. I'm just not too used to playing against Bomberman. I wasn't sure if Mentor was like a secondary plan out of the board. Wasteland. Yeah, Khan's a little bit scary, so I think the plan is to Green Suns for Collector Oof next turn. Yeah, maybe because of that I should have gone for it. Because taking them off mana is pretty good, yeah. I guess maybe the play, looking back at it, was actually fetching for a Savannah. Hitting the Monk, and then wastelanding and having, what's it called, back. Yeah, I think Savannah turn 1 was a lot better. At least here we have a nice setup. We can go Green Suns for Collector Oof and then also have Wasteland available. But yeah, in hindsight, that's a huge misplay. Alright, Collector Oof. And then I think it's just the Ancient Tomb, because the city, if they want to play another land, they can. I'm going to assume Swords to Plowshares is in the board for them. Glass Casket? Rough. Yeah, that Wasteland would be nice. Do I care about this? The Plains probably isn't doing much. Because my only real outs are drawing into a removal spell for the Glass Casket, which is either Abrupt Decay or Green Suns for 3 for Night of Autumn. So if I put in Scrib Ranger here, I could return this and then have 1, 2, 3 mana. So I don't think it really matters if I use it here. Hex Drinker. Yeah, attacking Khan seems fantastic. But definitely attacking Khan first. Yeah, their attack was interesting, but to be fair, I've also made some misplays already. So what do I want to do here? I think it's just going to be Hex Drinker pass. I could also, so this becomes a permanent until end of turn. So I could play Verdant Catacombs and just hold up Scrib Ranger and Dryad Arbor, which I don't mind. Instead of playing out the Hex. Ramanap's also a play, but I like this. Yeah, I guess my interesting. Maybe I'm actually happy just to trade here, or at least see what they do and see if they pump. Because if I can trade just 2 for 2 here and then get back to the Dryad Arbor anyway with Ramanap, I'm pretty happy. I didn't want to play the Hex Drinker yet because I don't want to really trade it for either one of these monks, and I wanted this situation to come up where I might be able to just trade 1 for 1 and clear the board, and that's pretty nice. Because now I can get back Ramanap into... okay. Ah, nice. Always works out. It's definitely swords. I'm just seeing if I could Ramanap back Verdant. That's probably better. Ramanap back. Yeah. get back Verdant, and then we can fetch for Savannah. So what's this? Another LED off the top isn't too bad for us. That's actually pretty good. I think just wastelanding here is better than anything else. I could take them off a color, or I can take them off the City of Traders. Kind of like taking them off the City, because currently they have, other than LED, they have 4 mana. So I think just taking them back to 2 mana is better. Now we get to play a Hex and just tick it all the way up. Which is pretty nice because it plays around any sort of like main deck swords plowshares. They have 0 cards in hand. Definitely room for tighter play in my early game. But it looks like we're turning the tables, which is nice, yeah. So this is going to be an interesting matchup. I think on the play, if there is a game 3, I'll bring in the Deafening Silences, but otherwise I won't. Chalice is actually pretty interesting on 0, so I don't mind that. Teeg is also interesting. I think Teeg is probably better than maybe something like Scrib Ranger, just because he hits Khan. And I'm assuming there's some other cards that it hits, like Echo. Plagues are pretty nice for the mental play, and Ramanap's really nice. Kai is an interesting one. I think there's enough permanents that I want to hit for Kai to be relevant. I like Knight. I don't mind the Sylvan Libraries. You'd be surprised if they play Echo. Hex is nice because it's an early aggressive creature that I can try to go for. I feel like the Scoos is needed. I believe this deck plays, if it is playing a Bomberman style deck, I kind of need it. QB is really nice. It's actually quite interesting because the main deck actually lines up pretty well. I might drop a library. I'm definitely bringing in the Force. I don't mind going down on a creature. Yeah, I think a Trim on the Knight is pretty good as well. As good as Knight can be with Wasteland locking. I think it might just be a case of not bringing in the Chalices. Maybe in the play, Chalice and Deafening Silence can come in. But it's an interesting one. I might just do a little bit of trimming. I might trim 1 Thalia and 1 more Knight for the 2 Chalice. Just because I'm a little bit afraid of the early game, and to have as much interaction in the early game is good, because if we can go to the mid to late game, I'm pretty happy with how the deck can perform. But I think some of these numbers will change on the play. If I was on the play. Sadly, a hand with no plan. Does have a Wasteland, but doesn't have anything else, so I'm gonna mulligan this. This is probably okay. It's got a Noble Hierarch, which is nice, which is my only white source. It's also got Green Suns later on. I think I'm pretty happy to keep this and probably bottom the Ooze. because if I need it, I can find it with the Green Suns. It's got a lot of removal, which is kind of nice, but I would probably rather one less and one land, of course. But I think I'm happy to keep this on the draw. I wonder if they play Chalice for one. Okay. Well, at least we have the Nurturing Peatland. They're going to empty their hand. That's interesting. Sylvan Library. Another Chalice for one. Okay. They see the Sylvan Library, but still no actual follow-up, which is really nice for us. Ah, rough. It's gonna be Chalice for 2? No, it's gonna be Khan. Okay. Well, got a little bit stuck here. They're getting a Ballista. That's interesting. Yikes. I mean, let's go for Lattice here, right? 2, 4, 5, 6 mana. Yeah, they have the LED as well, but they're going to go for salvages. That's interesting. They're playing Heliod? Interesting. Alright, while they combo us, what do we think about the board? Hey, HG Butt. Welcome. I hope you're well. Thank you very much for the sub. Means a lot. 6 months is very cool. A huge thank you. I hope you're having a nice weekend. So I definitely want the Deafening Silences on the play. It could be a case of trimming something like Swords to Plowshares, because I have decays. The Deafening Silences and the Plague Engineers do stop Mentor to some capacity. We also have the Skyclave Apparitions as more removal. So I think trimming on Swords is fine. Maybe down to 1. And then bringing in the 3 Deafening Silences. I like how my board also turns into artifacts. That's actually really cool. I've never seen like these like cards like a choke like this. Huh. Oh my gosh, I did spell Maverick wrong. Boyd, thank you. I don't believe any more cards entering the graveyard, so I'm not really gaining anything from here, so I might as well just concede. So Deafening Silence in, Swords out. I could see the potential of an extra Swords over the second Plague, but just to maybe make the curve a little bit better. Something like this. Chalice for 1 on the draw is probably less of an inclined. Yeah, I do like extra Thalia as well. Yeah, maybe it is just the extra plow. Hey Gav, a huge thanks for the Twitch Prime sub. Big thank you. I hope you're well. I liked your post in the Maverick Discord. That list looked pretty sweet. Yeah, thankfully it lined up. I woke up late, so luckily I get to get some new viewers. This looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this. I don't think I need the surgicals. Alright, what do we want? We want a Noble Hierarch, a land, and a Deafening Silence. That's all I really want. Okay. Still a pretty good hand for no turn 1 play. I think this is more than fine. Turn 2 Oof and then turn 3 Engineer or Knight of Autumn. It's tough though because there's no acceleration. There is a Wasteland as well, which is really nice. So if I play the turn 2 Oof and then turn 3 the Knight or Plague aren't relevant yet, I can just Wasteland my opponent. I think it's just too good not to. I think on the draw I would have a lot more issues with it, but on the play it seems pretty good. Huh. I kind of want to Wasteland here. Yeah, I think just Wastelanding them is more than fine. There's no reason to do it in their turn either. Oh, I guess they can float mana and then swords that collect oof, but if they don't have swords here, this is going to be pretty nice. Just going to get a Bayou. I'm not sure if they switched Plow and Chalice. That's my only thought. No, wow, okay. Well, that's pretty nice. Ah, we drew the Teeg. I kind of wanted to Green Suns for this, but now we're in an interesting position. Definitely attacking. I think Teeg is better, even though it just turns off our Green Suns. We don't really need to Green Suns for the rest of the game. I mean, my opponent could have Mentor, but we have the Plague Engineer already, so pretty happy. Could actually just Skyclave it and then Plague later on. It's much of a muchness. I guess I might as well Plague first in case there is something that I need to Skyclave, like a I guess we have the Knight for one of those 2-drop O-ring type effects. Monk. I can probably attack with both here. I don't think they'd have a way to do anything in our turn. Surely. I guess, no, not even Walking Ballista isn't out. Okay, Caracas on Teeg is pretty good. But they kind of need something more. Okay. Wasteland? Noble, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm scared of something here, if there's any reason not to attack into the Mentor. I think we're in a position where I don't really care. Yeah, I'm trying to think if I just want to put an extra creature down here so that I have lethal next turn, even if they enter the Collector Oof. Enter the Gaddock Teeg. So I think Apparition on Heliod is more than fine here because Knight should be able to answer anything else. Could play the Knight as a 4/3 or play the Apparition. I think Apparition is just better as a cleanup spell. Because surely they don't have a way to like deal with. I think no, they definitely don't have a way to deal with it, with the way they've played. Yeah, pretty tough for them. I mean, Oof into Teeg into Plague Engineer is pretty sweet against this deck, so definitely got the luck of the draw. But always a cool deck to see. I'm a big fan of Mentor. Haven't seen it being played too much recently, but always nice to see it when I do. Just always nice to see it when I have a removal spell for it. Otherwise, not so much nice to see it. Big Don Bowski. This hand is very 3-drop based. It's got a turn 2 Thalia, but the issue is turn 2 Thalia is nice, but it can be a bit slow. Against like Rug Delver, this hand is pretty terrible. I don't like getting stuck with too many 3-drops without a turn 1 accelerant, so I'm going to mulligan this just on preference. And this is a great hand. I'll keep this and bottom the Dry Harbor. Turn 2 Kaya or Ramanap's really nice. Once. Okay. This could be Hogak, could be Depths, could be Maverick. Misty. Probably means Hogak. Ooh. Snow-covered forest. Misty not the greatest in Maverick because it can't fetch out. Oh, there's gonna be Cloud Post. Interesting. So we have the Kaya for the Needle, which is nice. Yep. Alright. Green Suns. That's pretty nice. Let's go for Savannah High Rock. Hey Victor, welcome. Currently 1-0, which is nice. Got up against a mono white Bomberman deck. And it looks like we're up against Cloud Post in match 2. So thankfully, as bad as Wasteland is in game 1, at least with Pithy Needle, we do have the Kaya to get rid of this Pithy Needle, which is nice. Let's go for a Bayou. I think the extra green is just better. White, black, green, Kaya. Tick down on Needle. Next turn we get to Green Suns for Knight. And then we have Knight, Ramanap, Wasteland lock online. If they don't find another Needle. But we still have the Kaya around, so this is looking pretty good. Yeah, no post yet, which is interesting. Maybe they have crop rotation up to try to end step get a post going. Another once. Interesting, an island. Does this change what I think this is? Maybe it's just got blue in there for cards like Repeal? They find a trop? Interesting. Okay. Bayou. for Knight. Take these bad boys out. I should have taken out one of the onces because... No, it's all good. It's a creature. The non-creature cards don't matter. Interesting. It is going to be some sort of show and tell deck. Caracas is nice to put off. So what do I want to do here? Let's cast this first. Yeah, double wasteland sounds really good. There is some consideration to play around crop rotation, but I do want a double wasteland, so I don't really mind. So I probably care about the trop first. I guess they could crop into Bog if they're playing main deck Bog. Yeah, Needle Name Wasteland, which is interesting. Yeah, they cropped into Bog. Okay. That's fair. Guess we just play Caracas and attack for 1. Oh, they could have Ice Fang. If they wanted to slow us down. No, okay. Ah, I didn't use Kaya. Meant to use Kaya. Yeah, I could definitely feld Caracas, especially if they have well, Thalia is actually quite nice. Thalia keeps them. I guess they could have show until next turn, but yeah, I think maybe playing the Bayou last game was just a better play. This is fine. We have the Kai for this, so we don't have to use the swords for it. Maze is going to be fine. Peatland. I still think Wasteland's just better here. Tick down on this. I don't think they'd run something like a protection spell, like a Sagiri Step. Yeah. Interesting to see this list. I'm not too sure what to think of it. I do like the choke. Force is an interesting one. I think it might just be the Skyclaves. I guess it's a case of what isn't great, and maybe it's something like Decay. Maybe I can rely on Skyclave Apparition instead of Decay. Because at least it's a creature. I'm not too sure what else they're playing. It seems like they're playing like maybe Sylvan Library. Sylvan Library seems like a card that would be played in this 75. But I guess my reasoning for Skyclave over Abrupt Decay is that Skyclave can at least pressure them as well. You want to surgical them? I could see that. Scavenging Ooze doesn't seem that relevant. Collector Oof doesn't seem that relevant either. Hex Drink is nice. It's probably something like a Plague. Probably both Plagues. I don't think they're going to be playing X1 creatures. And I don't think I can use it as a way to stop a Titan. I think if a Titan's attacking, it's going to be killing me. If they're on the Omniscience plan, I kind of like the Force of Vigor, but I'm not too sure what they're on. Teeg's also interesting, but doesn't really stop too much. Maybe opposing Green Suns? Yeah, Force of Vigor is always interesting. I'm just not too sure how heavy they're on. So I guess we did see Pith Needle as well. So having an extra out for Pith Needle is kind of nice. Maybe it is just the Force, because at least we did see the Needle. This hand's okay. Okay. At least we have a few ones for Needle. So it looks like a Reclaimer Show and Tell Cloud Post kind of deck. Which is cool. Definitely won't fault them for it. I think next turn I just like Knight, and then the following turn Skyclave on Needle, Wasteland, and then keep up Night of Autumn for Show and Tell. There's Glimmer Post. Ballista. Okay. That's fine. I'm not too sure if I want a Surgical yet, or if I want a Surgical in response to something like a Show and Tell, so I know what to put in. There also might be something that I want to take instead of the Ballista. But I do definitely like using the Show and Tell for some amount of There is a case to Surgical now, because I don't really want my Knight getting hit by another Walking Ballista, because it's currently a 2/2, they can make a 4/4 or a 2/2 Ballista. So I think just for that sake, in case they do have another Walking Ballista in hand, I'm pretty happy. Okay, so they have another Ballista in the deck. So it looks just like, okay, they also have Emeralds, that's kind of cool. So it is a post deck with Show and Tells to show in the Big Eldrazi and the Primeval Titans. That makes sense. They also brought in Surgical against me, which is interesting. Probably to take out my Wastelands. Yeah, blue-green post. Okay. So they have the Show and Tell, but they have nothing to put in yet. But they do have access to a pretty good bunch of mana. One thing to note is they don't have green mana to crop, so next turn we're pretty good with Ramanap and a Wasteland lock on these two lands. They do have another Needle, so I wonder if they actually double up on the Needle here and just name Wasteland again. They have two more Needles, Surgical, okay. Jack, what did I miss? Whenever you say my name, they are gonna double Needle maybe. Oh, maybe they actually Needle the Knight. But that's fine because we have the Night of Autumn. I'll think of a good number. I'm sure there is one. Bayou. I guess we're a little bit stuck here because we can't use the Goose's mana again this turn, which is a little bit unfortunate. And a big reason why I don't like Gilded Goose, I am trialing it because I do like that it has some longevity with the food, but I don't like that you can't just keep creating mana like Birds of Paradise and Noble Hierarch. It's definitely a matchup where I would rather have the extra mana. I think I will start attacking. I'm just thinking of what I want to do this turn. I think Ramanap is better than the Noble, but then I do want access to white mana, so I could go Noble, hold up food as well. I think that's probably best. There is a reason birds and hierarchy are smaller than goose. Except on Thanksgiving. I will add that fact. Alright, so we know about these. Oh, they're casting Show and Tell. Okay, that's kind of scary. Because it's going to be either Primetime or an Emrakul. And at least for an Emrakul... Ooh, they have the Caracas as well. That's pretty rough. I think we just put in Knight here and hit the hit this one. At least this is on cast. So that's not too scary. So let's take out this one. Oh. Make a food. They do have their own Caracas to return it, but I don't really care about that. I can't kill the Emrakul, but I can return it to the hand. And then they can't really cast it, so... And now I can hold up just creating a food next turn. Which is kind of nice. There is some advantage to Goose here, because if they did get to a stage where they could attack with their 15 CMC Emrakul, I could have enough food to just sack that and then live at 3 life. So they still don't have green mana, and we know they have 2 crops. So next turn we can Skyclave this Needle, find Wasteland, and then double Wasteland them. Okay, there it is. That's rough. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana if they have prime time. You wanted to not play the forest in the graveyard? Ah, to like not make the knight small? They're gonna crop now. Probably for another post. What is this? What is this? Is this a massive walking ballista? Yeah, I think... Oh no, we took the blisters out of the deck. So I'm not too sure what they just tried to do. I've been there. I've been there. We've all been there. Let's be honest. Alright, they've also tapped their snow cupboards. Now we get to go... white. I kind of want to keep up the Caracas just in case. So I'm going to use a food. Play Skyclave. Hit this Needle. Yeah. Sack the forest, get Wasteland. Wasteland them off the Cloud Post. Ramanap it back. Wasteland them with the Cloud Post. Yeah, I'm not too sure what they were doing there with their mana. Maybe they thought they had double green and just didn't think of it and wanted to cast Primetime. But, yeah. That's a tough one because they have to use a green for the crop anyway, so it's not a net. But cool deck. I think it's really cool. You have some protection early on with Pith Needle. You have some pretty good creatures to put in. It would have been interesting if they could have been a Field of the Dead deck. on the play, which is nice against Zeo. Yikes. This is just one of those hands where it's got all the mana in the world, but doesn't really do anything. This is a sweet hand. I'm going to keep this, but I'm not sure if I prefer the second Noble or the Savannah. And I think it's the Savannah that I rather, just to make sure I hit my land drops. Okay. I am just going to use the Plague here and save the sword. And then we have Hexdrinker next turn, just to ultimate, which is kind of nice. So even if they play Stoneforge here and tap out, we're pretty happy. Cradle? Thalia. Thalia is not the worst either. We can definitely attack first. I don't mind just going wide on the board. Even if they have Karakas, it's not the worst. Ooh. They didn't swords either. Pretty nice turn 3. Thalia's gonna be okay. Oh, they played it. Oh gosh. Yikes. Alright. Death and Taxes. Thalia out. Scavenging Ooze out. Skyclaves in. Force in. Kaya in. That's really it. So I might keep Ooze in just because I don't think Ooze is great in the matchup. But if they don't find Rest in Peace, Skoos can do really well in the mid to late game with the amount of creatures that go to the bin. The only issue with that is that a lot of our removal is exile, so there's not too many creatures in the bin even though it's a creature matchup. But I have cards like Plague Engineer and Abrupt Decay, so there are times where Scavenging Ooze can just become a 4-4 or a 5-5, which is kind of nice. So I think this is good enough. Yeah, I reckon I've done that. You know, I've done similar things with Pithy Needle, where you just don't realize that, you know, Pithy Needle turn 1 on Wasteland, 5 turns later is still there, and you try to set up, like, a play against Depths where you go after their Hex Mage, and then they go make Dark Depths, and you go to Wasteland them, and it's like, you can't click on it. It's needled. It's needled. Teeg could stop Gideon, or any other big creature, but I think the fact that it stops our Force and Green Suns and Kaya is a little bit more skeptical. Yeah, the court's interesting. I'm not too sure what it's called. If anyone knows what it is, and they can put in exclamation court. Hey, come on, Jack. I would say Leovold is actually a pretty good legendary creature against Death and Taxes. I think Leovold is very, very tough to play against. I don't... Turn 1 Goose, it gets taken out. We then have Dried Arbor, and then we just have green mana. So I'm going to mulligan this. I guess we keep this. I bottom the Dried Arbor and hope that either Noble or Bird stick. There is a case where I don't drop the Dried Arbor just to make sure I have a turn 2 Mana Dork, or a land on turn 2, and drop the Knight here. Which I don't mind because... My opponent's kept 6. I am also keeping 6. We're definitely keeping Engineer and Abrupt Decay, because both of them answer turn 1 plays in Aether Vial or Mother of Runes. I think it is just the Knight here. I think I actually value the Dryad Arbor as just a turn 2 play, even though it's open to so much hate in Port, Wasteland, or Swords. Gilded Goose. I'm gonna go for Savannah. I'm gonna go for Bayou and play Hierarch. It's probably the mana dork that I care about the least. So if my opponent wants to Revoker it or Swords it, I'm probably not too unhappy. Stoneforge is okay. This is actually really nice because now I get to, at worst, play out 3 creatures. I think that's better than Green Suns. 1, 2, and 3. And then next turn we have up Abrupt Decay and Plague. Grafdigger's Cage is okay. Not too worried about that. So now let's go like this. Plague and then hold up Abrupt Decay. He got sort of they got sort of Feast and Famine. I'm assuming just Green Suns. It could be a case of not having enough cards to board in. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Thalia is actually not the worst against Maverick because we do have a higher count of non-creature spells usually. At least here they might actually equip an attack, and then we can decay the sword block with Plague Engineer as a 2/2 on a 1/2. So they attack. We go for black. Yeah. That's a tough spot because then we block with a Plague Engineer, and they have 1 card in hand. It's a pretty tough spot. Thankfully, our cards just lined up really well. Do you think Plague Engineer should be banned? I don't think so. I think that the meta shifts in a way that Plague Engineer is fine in the format, because I think we saw Plague Engineer get printed, an increase, of course, in it being played because people are just really keen to play it. The decks that got hit really hard by it, like Goblins, Elves, Death and Taxes, etc., saw a downturn, and with that, people saw that and went, hey, maybe I don't need Plague Engineer anymore, so Plague Engineer saw less play, and now it's coming back a little bit because there are a few fair decks that are doing well. Obviously, D&T's in a good spot with Skyclave Apparition, but I think it's in a pretty good spot because, yeah, I think the meta can shift with it, which is nice. Hey Cat Gamer, good to see you again. Yeah, D&T's a sweet deck. Thanks for checking out my YouTube content. For anyone wanting to find me on YouTube, you can find me here. You can sub to me as well, which is free. But yeah, I usually upload twice a week. I have some Death and Taxes content coming up today. I'll upload it because it's from yesterday. And then, of course, this league as well will go on there. But hey, always nice to start out 3-0. Yeah, Plague's never fun to play against. Ah, Jack. Alright. Alright, Jack. Not too sure what Jack is on. I know that Jack plays Rug Delver. Could also be on Snow. Turn 1 Hex Drinker. The choice of beer on Friday. Oh, was it a Cooper's? I think it was a Cooper's. I'm gonna keep this. Can be a little bit tough against Rug, but turn 1 Hex is gonna be okay. Ooh. Interesting. Yikes. Do we have an out to this? Unfortunately, I don't think we do. This is just going to be one of those games. Doomsday is definitely a very tough matchup for Maverick. And probably also Death and Taxes in a way. Thassa's Oracle is just a really hard card for us to interact with. Outside of something like a Blue Splash for Meddling Mage, I guess the new Opposition Agent does pretty well. Have Maverick lists ever played Elvish Spirit Guide? I haven't seen it. Mainly because we don't really need the card disadvantage for mana. The deck already has some pretty good mana acceleration in Noble Hierarch, Birds of Paradise, or Gilded Goose, or Dried Arbor. Gonna get a Savannah. It's tough because Jack could have just gone for 2 fetch lands, 2 lands, and a Thassa's Oracle, and I don't think we can actually beat that. Which says a lot about the matchup, unfortunately. But board, we do have some cards that overlap from like Storm, so Deafening Silence is okay. Surgical is not really what you want to be, unless you have Thoughtseize. I don't mind Surgical, but yeah, it can be pretty tough. Chalice is probably okay. Oh, Underground Sea, okay. Brainstorm. I assume that means they win this turn because I don't think Wasteland's going to be where I want to be. I assume it's LED and then like Cracks or Street Wraith Crack. Or maybe the Edge of Autumn. Yeah, Edge of Autumn, yeah. But yeah, I can't do much here. Nice. This would be interesting to board. Hey, you, hey. Yeah, unfortunately, the turn 1 Doomsday is pretty hard to interact with. Where are we? Turn to game, sorry. So, Chalice, I don't mind. Deafening Silence is great. Swords can come out. Ramnap's a little bit too slow. Scooz is a little bit too slow. I don't mind the Decays because they are a little bit versatile. Plague Engineer is interesting. I don't think that Jack's going to go for like a mental plan. Force is also interesting. Chokes, at least on the play, it might have an impact on the game. Teeg doesn't do a whole lot. Most of the creatures stop at, or most of the non-creature spells stop at 3. Crypt doesn't do anything. Surgical's pretty useless. I don't think Surgical acts in any way where we can trip up their plan of their Doomsday pile. See how this goes. This in the blind isn't a bad hand, but I'm definitely not going to keep it against Doomsday. I do want that piece of interaction, like Deafening Silence, so I'll definitely keep this. And probably just drop the Plague Engineer. Gonna get a Savannah and play Deafening Silence. Just to stop like a turn 1 ritual into Doomsday again. I think I'm lagging. Can you guys see if I'm lagging at all? What's the best hate bear versus Doomsday? I would say Meddling Mage on Doomsday. Opposition Agent, if you want to call that a hate bear, is also pretty good in response to a Doomsday. Otherwise, probably like Ethersworn Canonist is okay at slowing them down and also hitting them. I feel like I'm lagging. Can anyone in chat tell me if the actual stream is lagging as well? It looks like I've got a pretty bad download and upload rate. This is fine. Be back in 1 sec. I'm just gonna quickly check the modem.